Hi guys, and thanks for joining me today. If you're new here, I'm Marilyn, and if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. Now, one of my great nephews loves axolotls, and when I say he loves axolotls, I think he's obsessed with axolotls. Well, I was rummaging through Creative Fabrica today, and I found an axolotl design. So in today's video, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to make a mug rug. For this project, I'm going to use my Poolin EOC06 Embroidery machine. That's a single needle machine, but its largest hoop is a very generous size. I'll also use some fabric I've already pre-cut. On the front piece, I also have some fusible interfacing on it. I have a couple of pieces cut for the back piece. This will be an envelope style closure, and if you're not familiar with that, as we go through the video, I'll explain it. I'm also going to use my new SewTech 7.9 by 7.9 hoop. Now I've been using this on some lives that I've done on my channel, but this is the first time that I'm introducing it in some pre-recorded video. We'll talk more about this during the video as well. I also have some cutaway stabilizer. To get ready for the video, I used some scissors. I'm going to have some snips handy by my machine. I used this rotary cutter. I love this rotary cutter. Check out the link if you're interested. And then when I was cutting down my fabric, I also used this cutting mat. Here's a little better look at the hoop that I'm going to use. Now with my Poolin EOC06, you connect the hoop on the right side of the machine. And so some machines you connect it on the left side. With the Poolin EOC06, you connect it on the right side. Now SewTech has these for a lot of different machines. So it's not just the Poolin, but it's a lot of different flatbed machines. Now on the top of this, it's just a little bit fuzzy, and I feel like that serves two purposes. First of all, it's easy on your fabric, but second of all, I think it's less slippery that way, and that helps keep everything in place as well. And then on the back of this, you have this rubber strip, and that should help from wear and tear on your machine. Now with the design that I'm doing today, I'm just going to use stabilizer in the hoop. Then I'll be floating my fabric on after I have a position stitch in place, and then I'll tack it down with a tack down stitch. So let's go ahead and get our stabilizer hooped up. This is a cutaway stabilizer. On my single needle machines, I just use one piece of stabilizer. On my multi-needle machines, I use two. And that's regardless of what hoop I'm using. So there's 4 different types of magnets. There's a long magnet, and also notice if you're wearing a pacemaker, you really shouldn't be using magnetized hoops. These are very, very strong magnets. But we have a long magnet, and it has this lip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lip to the inside of the hoop. I'm going to hold my stabilizer, and I'm just going to move this over into place. And you can see it kind of sucks it right up on top of the hoop. But you want to push it so it's firmly in place. Let's go ahead and add a few more of these. That lip part always needs to be to the inside of the hoop. We'll put one up here, and then we'll put one right over here. Then I'm going to show you the shorter ones. And actually this is bumping up against that, so I don't even want a long one on this side. Let's just put it over here. So you have 2 types of shorter magnets. You have a shorter magnet also with a lip. Let's go ahead and use a couple of those. Now you get enough magnets with each of your hoops. I have 3 hoops, and so I have a lot of extra magnets. Now you also have these short magnets that don't have the lip. And what I like about these is you could actually place one of these right here, and it's not going to interfere with your stitches. You can put them anywhere, but I think that's a great place for them. So we'll put one here, and then one more right over here. All right, I think that looks good. This hoop easily fits under the raised presser foot, but if your hoop is taller, you can raise the presser foot even more on this machine. Then to attach your hoop, you slide this lever over. When I do that, it opens up a place where it then attaches to the metal pins or bars on the machine. Then just lift up the hoop a little bit and attach it. When you let go of the lever, the hoop locks in place. Before I can start, I need to lower the presser foot, and then this first stitch will be the placement stitch for my fabric. Now I'll add the fabric for what's going to be the front of the mug rug, making sure that I have it covering the entire placement stitch. And since mine has a geometric pattern on it, I want to try and have it fairly straight. Then I can lower the presser foot and push the start button again. This next stitch will be the tack down stitch. And now it's time for the stipple stitch. I was using this machine a few days ago and I kept having thread break after thread break. But I discovered it was user error in how I was threading the machine. So I'm going to do a short video to show exactly what I was doing wrong and how to fix it. And I think the video could be helpful no matter what type of single needle machine you're using. So I need to change the thread before doing part of the axolotl. To do that, I cut my thread at the top and pull it through the machine the way thread is meant to go through the machine. I learned from viewers on a YouTube Live that you don't want to pull your thread through the machine backwards to remove it, as that can cause a buildup of lint in the thread path. Now at this point, I was really questioning my fabric and color choices. I also noticed that the stitching on the axolotl is pretty thin, and so I can see my stipple stitches through the design. I had turned off the Remove Hidden Stitches feature when I made this in Embrilliance, but it looks like I need to turn it back on and resave my design. But anyway, once I added the black outline to the little axolotl, I was so much happier with how it was looking. So let's take this off and see what we have. And I have a little loop where I think the tail of the thread got caught up in a stitch. So I need to see if I can pull that through to the back. Next, I'm going to add what will be the back fabric of the mug rug, and this is the envelope closure that I was talking about earlier. So with an envelope closure, you lay 2 pieces of fabric that are doubled over on top of the mug rug. And the first piece that you put down is what will be on the very back of the mug rug once you turn it, which I'll show in a bit. Also, you want to have a decent amount of overlap in the 2 pieces of fabric. At least that's how I like to do mine. Now this amount of overlap is overkill, but it should be okay. And then I'm going to add a little masking or painter's tape where the needle will go over the overlap, otherwise the needle could get hung up on it. And for this closing stitch, I'm stitching around twice for extra strength. Now here's what we have, and I almost had a big old issue here, and it may still be an issue, I don't know. And then this piece of fabric, it really didn't need to be all the way up there. It could have ended more like down in here, but it doesn't hurt anything. It'll be fine. So let's go ahead and get the tape off. Then I'll just take these magnets off. Hopefully this turned out okay. If I wanted to, which I don't, this was my practice stitch out. If I wanted to, I could go to the sewing machine and I could just sew right there. It's going to be fine. It went around twice. I think it'd be fine even without that. So I'm going to use my pinking shears, which I forgot to tell you in the intro I would use, because I forgot that I was going to use them. And I'm just going to cut along, not too close to the stitches, but not too far away, maybe 1/4 of an inch or so. I'll cut a little bit closer at the corners. Okay, so now we're going to turn this one side. And the first time I did this, I turned this one side. I was like, oh my goodness, that's still, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I was really concerned, and it was perfectly fine. All right, let's poke out the corners. And then after I'm done with the video, I'll actually iron this to get this really nice and smooth. But that looks good. Now flip this side over. And then see how it ends up about in the middle? That's what I was shooting for. I don't get too concerned with that other piece so much, as long as I have at least maybe an inch of overlap. I do like there to be a good size overlap, but I don't get too concerned about where that other piece ends. Just poking out these corners. And this actually turned out so much cuter than I thought it was going to turn out. Not perfect colors, but I like it a whole lot more than when I was actually stitching it out. Until this black outline was around it, I really didn't like it at all. Now, one thing is, these stitches aren't very dense. And so maybe I should have used the hidden stitches feature, because you can see all that stippling behind it. But Marshall Man, he's not going to care. He's going to like it anyway. And even though it was just a test stitch out, I think this is fine to give him. Let me iron this and bring it back. So here's the final result, and I think it's very cute. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of this design. I think the stitches are just too sparse. It needs to be more dense. But you know what? I'm a member of Creative Fabrica, so for me, I got it for free. And I kind of like free. So if I want to complain about it, I need to just digitize one myself. Now, even though I don't love the design, I will put it in the video description just in case you're interested. It started out as a rectangle mug rug. I took off the things that were over here, some seaweed or something. I took off their stippling, I took off their rectangle, and I started building back my own mug rug. All I used from it really was the axolotl. So if you're interested in a video where you can see how you can strip certain things out of other designs and make your own project, let me know. I'd be glad to do one. And as always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it.